Well, good evening, folks. I don't know whether you remember the video I made earlier in the year, which we called Frankenstein's. It was to do with the hospitals and how through the 1902 Midwifery Act, the Crown chose those who were allowed to deliver babies and nobody else. And why would that be, one might say? Well, we've made it clear that the first claim upon your offspring as a child, which determines it as a ward of the state, happens in the hospital. And a lot of people are a bit, I've had nurses ring me up and say that's exactly correct. That's exactly what we're taught to do, or rather midwives. So we know that it is a fact that everything that the state is trying to do with these registrations from your signatures is about taking full control of your offspring into their own hands. And the term child is a ward of the state, and a parent again puts you under the state and then subject to, as the nurse says in this coming video, she has a duty. Yeah, so you've got police running around, you've got council running around, all these idiots claiming they have a duty of care on you. Now, of course, we've gone through all the data in relation to how that is so, and it basically boils down to that you are no longer seen as man, you are person, okay? And person is subject to all the Crown's garbage via the government, the United Nations, etc. And because those governments signed into the United Nations or bankrupt, then the assets of those governments, persons, corporations, which is what they see it as, are then going to pay the debt of that government. As any bankruptcy is carried out through the administrators, that's what they do. They allocate who gets paid first, what, where and when. That's how they do it. So that's exactly what the United Nations is doing on behalf of the Bank for International Settlements against you. And the point that they get that is, as we've discussed, in the hospital. So just have a look at this short video and listen carefully, because there's a bit of background noise, but you just listen very carefully to the conversation between the mother having the offspring and this nurse. It's extremely revealing indeed, and just cements in your mind that we know that run-of-the-mill people don't think in these terms, but it has to be understood that all those that are in this game, midwives in this particular instance, they are, and they have been since 1902. Yeah, 1902. Now look, when you look back into the Holy Roman Empire and its agenda of how it actually carves up a nation, one of the most important things it needs to do is to remove the children off the parent, the mother and father, because it's in the programming of the children that they get the next agenda through as that generation reaches 18, votable ages, yeah, work and taxable age. Are you seeing what I'm saying here? So they set it up while the children, and then pick it up when they're used. I mean, the celebrity culture, etc., has put a wedge between your offspring and you. Everything's about creating a wedge between your offspring and you as mum and dad. That's what it's all been about. The breakup of the family is an extension of that. Abortion, contraception, all these things are all aimed at stopping you procreating the race. Yeah, it's not free love. It's we don't want you to procreate. Now they've been using vaccines, and they've been doing that for at least 20 years. The HPV is a prime example, to sterilise. So just take a quick listen to this video and listen carefully to the interchange between mother and nurse or midwife who's claiming a duty of care.
NHS nurses tell expectant mother that they will PCR test her baby once it's born, as it is no longer her property when not in her abdomen.
Vital one. Because it is my property.
So you will, while the baby's in your abdomen.
What, so you're saying that once the baby comes out, it's not my property no more? Yes, it is. I gave birth to it. It's got my blood running through its veins.
Okay, Stacey, I'm just trying to explain to
Well,
you.
you're not helping me. You see what you're doing? Right, now look at this.
Now you're stressing.
No. I'm going to stop you now. I don't want to hear no more of it.
Okay, well,
Just that.
it's my duty.
Yes, and you don't listen because you told me about 5 bloody times and I'm sick of hearing it. I don't need the stress. Once again, I'm going to be stressed out. I haven't leaked all day. Now I'm leaking. Do you really think I need this bullshit about COVID when I've got a risk of losing my baby or possibly something?
Exactly. You're more worried about COVID than the baby.
About this COVID.
Do you know what, Stacey? Let's get our stuff and get